So, hi everyone. Welcome to another Zoom meeting, another podcast episode. If you are listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, you can find out about these meetings, about our online community, about paid private mentoring with myself on the website. It's www.acimwithkeith.com. I am way behind on my correspondence. If you're waiting for a response from me, I'm going to catch up on responses this week to those emails in connection with private mentoring. I promise. And if you ever don't get a message from me, do check your spam folder because unfortunately they do end up there quite a lot. And if you haven't received a message from me, don't be afraid to reach out again or contact me by messenger or whatever else. Right. On with today. All right. Today's topic is, I guess it's the course tells us, for we but see the journey from the point at which it ended, looking back, imagining we make it once again. So, in some ways, you could say what I'm going to talk about is the end, but you could also call it the beginning. Um, Certainly, what we're going to talk about today is the purpose and the goal of all the workbook lessons, all the forgiveness, all the work, all the practice. We're going to talk about what does that all lead towards? What is the outcome of all of that? What is all this for? So that's what we're going to deal with today. It's also in response to when people say to me, well, I have all this ego going stuff going on. I'm just looking at it. I'm just looking at it. That's kind of half the formula. It's half the formula. Today we want to talk about the full formula. So let's start with lesson 189. Today we pass illusions as we seek to reach to what is true in us. Just note that it's already there. And feel its all embracing tenderness. It's love which knows us perfect as itself. It's sight, which is the gift its love bestows on us. We learn the way today. It is as sure as love itself, to which it carries us. For its simplicity avoids the snares, the foolish convolutions of the world's apparent reasoning, but serve to hide. Now, the truth is already true. It's already true. And it's already here. It was never absent. And we're about to be told how to know the truth without getting caught in the ego's foolish reasoning. How do I find the truth? How do I look for the truth? How do I make the truth true? How do I get rid of the illusions? How do I do this? How do I do that? What do I understand? How do I understand it? How do I do it right? How do I not do it wrong? How do I need to understand this? That's the ego's foolish convolutions based on the ego's reasoning. And they serve to hide the simplicity of the truth that has never been absent. So, how do we bypass all that foolish trying and competing and striving and seeking and trying to how do we bypass all that nonsense which hides the truth? And here it is. Simply do this. Be still and lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is. All concepts you've learned about the world. All images you hold about yourself. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad. Of every thought it judges worthy, and all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Hold on to nothing. Do not bring with you one thought the past has thought, no one belief you've ever learned before from anything. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. So the purpose of A Course in Miracles is to know you rest in God. That's it. That is the practice, and that is the purpose. That is the goal. And its realization is the knowing of the truth, which was here all along. So all of this, all of the reading, all of the workbook lessons, all of the forgiveness shadow work, it's all for this, to rest in God. To rest in God means to rest as awareness, which is what you are. It's what you are when you're still, when you've laid aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is, when you've laid aside all concepts you've learned about the world, when you've laid aside all images you hold about yourself, when you empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad, when you divest yourself of every thought that you've judged worthy and all the ideas of which you are ashamed, when you hold on to nothing, when you do not bring with you one thought the past has taught, nor one belief you've ever learned before from anything, when you forget this world, when you forget this course, and when you come with wholly empty hands unto your God, all that's left is the essence, the truth, awareness. Awareness divested of its content, just awareness, which is what you are. So again, the practice is you rest in God, which means you rest as awareness. So the practice is not trying to become aware of awareness. It's not trying to become awareness. It's not trying to improve your awareness. It's not being a witness. It's not focusing on awareness with awareness. It's not being more present. Because awareness is resting. It's not a doing. Resting and doing are not the same thing. Awareness is not doing. Any doing, trying, struggling to be awareness, be in awareness, is the opposite of resting as awareness. There's a me there trying to be something instead of awareness resting as itself. What can you do to rest as awareness? Doing is the opposite of rest. You can do attention, you can do focus, you can do witnessing, but you can't do awareness. Awareness is a resting, not a doing. So the doer is the ego. The doer is imagined. It's the result of identification with thoughts. To rest in God, to rest as awareness, the first thing you have to let go of is the doing, is the imagined doer, which is nothing but a bunch of thoughts. The doer is that activity of thoughts in your mind that's trying to get something right, do it the right way, understand it, wants to know how to do it, worrying that it's doing it wrong, trying to get it right. So you have to surrender all that. You have to let those thoughts be and stop entertaining them and following them and believing them. Because doing has nothing to do with resting. Nothing. You have to surrender all doing. Because this is a non-doing. You also have to let go of trying to understand anything. Trying to understand is still a doing. It's not resting. It's a busy mind. And the mind is the illusion. The mind is the dream world. To rest in God, to rest as awareness, you need to surrender all the egoic mind's activity of doing and trying to understand. Because spiritual awakening has absolutely zero to do with concepts. It has nothing to do with knowing something or understanding something. It's actually the opposite. It has to do with surrendering, relinquishing every single thing you think you know, all of which is false. It's not about acquiring new thoughts. It's not about acquiring new understanding. It's about letting all understanding and attempts to understand go. In chapter 31, section 5, paragraph 14, it says, the concept of the self has always been the great preoccupation of the world. Who am I? What am I? What are my thoughts about myself? And everyone believes that he must find the answer to the riddle of himself. Has to understand, has to think about it, has to work it out, has to learn it. What am I? Salvation can be seen as nothing more than the escape from concepts. It does not concern itself with the content of the mind, but with the simple statement that it thinks. Salvation is nothing more than remembering the truth, what you are, because you are the truth. And it has nothing to do with the content of the mind. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. That wild illusion mind, that egoic mind, that thinking mind, all its attempts to learn something and understand something and cling to concepts, defend concepts, live by concepts, all its attempts to do something and do awareness and do resting in God, that's the content of the mind. That's the dream. That has nothing to do with resting as awareness. What you are. What you are is nothing to do with the content of the mind. None of it's trying, none of it's thinking, none of it's trying to understand, none of it's trying to control and direct. None of it. It has nothing to do with the truth. So the problem most course students have isn't knowing too little. It's not understanding that is substandard. The problem most course students have is that they know too much. They think concepts, the content of the mind, is how they acquire freedom. They cling to those concepts. So the problem is not that you don't know enough or you don't understand this. The problem is you think you do with content of the mind, with the dream. Problem is thinking you know. So you don't need to know anything to rest as awareness. Actually, you just got to let everything go that you think you know. That's it. The problem isn't not knowing what to do to rest as awareness. It's that you need to let go of trying to do anything. People think they're missing a vital component or a vital understanding or a vital concept. And if they can just grasp onto the secret concept, the correct one, if they can just understand it with the content of their mind, everything's going to fall into place. They'll finally get it. They'll finally rest in God. They'll finally rest as awareness. That's the trap. That's the trap. That's what keeps you dreaming because you're already resting in God, because you already are awareness. Are you not aware right now that there's seeing going on, that there's hearing going on, that there's feeling going on, that there's knowing going on? Is that not already here? Is that not already here? Is everything that you're seeing and hearing and feeling, is it not already permeated with awareness? And even if the mind's alarm bells are starting to go off, and you find your mind drifting and you getting pulled into the thought worlds, into the daydream world, away from what's being said, are you not aware of the daydream? You're not aware that there's a daydream happening. Is everything not already permeated with awareness? So before the wild illusion, the egoic mind that's frantic and distraught with no reality whatsoever, the thinking mind that's trying to understand and do and control. So before the wild illusion that pretends to be you tries to understand awareness or do something about it or find it or search for it, awareness is already here. You are already here. No matter what that wild illusion in your mind is doing. So to rest in God, to rest as awareness, is to recognize that Awareness is already here. It doesn't matter if the insane mind is trying to do something, thinking about what it's doing, not wanting to do what it's doing wrong, trying to understand something, or thinking it doesn't understand something, or thinking it needs more information. It doesn't matter what's happening in the dream, in the one illusion. Awareness is already here. It's what you are. When you're not mixed up with the doing and the thinking and the trying to understand, the trying to control, when you're not mixed up with all that drama in the insane mind, you can know that you already rest in God. You rest as God. You rest as awareness. That's already true. You might overlook it and get involved with the wild illusion, but that doesn't change the fact of what you are and that you are awareness. Course tells us you are at home in God, dreaming of exile, but perfectly capable of awakening to reality. Is that your wish? Well, the dream is what the mind is doing. You are what's aware of the mind. You already are awareness. We but see the journey from the point at which it ended, looking back, imagining we make it once again. You are the awareness. Mind is what seems to be on a journey, but it's an illusion. You already rest in God. So a lot of the course lessons are training you for this. And one of the big training methods in the course is knowing yourself as the witness to thoughts, not the owner of them, not a thinker of them, the witness of them. This is very important. This is how you begin to taste the truth. Now, awareness in truth is not a witness. The truth doesn't need to witness itself. But this witnessing is a portal. It's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is a portal to the holy instant, which is knowing the truth of awareness. Portal. The witnessing is a portal. The forgiveness is a portal to the truth. The first thing you realize is there's a whole load of thoughts going on here. But what if I just let them be exactly as they are? Or says, what can frighten me when I let all things be exactly as they are? So there's a wild illusion going on in your mind. All of it's an illusion. But what if you let that illusion be exactly as it is? What if you stop pushing and pulling on it and being in there trying to control it and understand it and change it and fix it and heal it and turn it into something else? What if you just forgave it? What would be here in this very moment if you let the wild illusion do whatever it wants? Now you know yourself as the witness of the wild illusion and not the wild illusion itself. Now you're no longer the thinker of the ego's imaginary thoughts. You're the witness to them, untouched by them. So this is the wrong mind brought to the right mind. How do I bring the wrong mind to the right mind? You witness the wrong mind and you go, what would happen if I just let it do whatever it wants? What if I forgave it? What if I stopped trying to understand and control and fix and do? What if I stopped? If the miracle comes quietly into the mind that stops an instant and is still, what if I stopped any doing or understanding or controlling of the wild illusion? What if I just let it be exactly as it is? What would be here? So now that I have known myself, it's like, aha, yes, there's a whole wild illusion going on here in the mind. Whole load of mad thoughts. A wild illusion, frantic and distraught, with no reality whatsoever. Nothing to do with me. And my portal out of thinking this is me is witnessing the wild illusion with no agenda. Nothing to do, nothing to understand, nothing to fight, nothing to change. What if I just let all things be exactly as they are? What if I was still and I quietly did nothing about the wild illusion? What if I didn't seek to change it to appearances I like? What if I let it be? What if I just look and wait and have no judgment or opinion of it? What will be here already in this moment if I let go? So once I realize, aha, there are thoughts, feelings, stories, memories. There's all that going on there in the wild illusion, but something's witness to it. There's something that's the knower of all of it, which is forever untainted and unqualified by any of it. See, so this is now I realize, aha, there's a knower. There's an awareness of. That's the first step. It's what forgiveness establishes. What's the holy instant? The holy instant is when you turn around and go, what is this witness? What is this awareness of? So, first of all, you've established the witness by witnessing the wild illusion with no story about it, no judgment, with forgiveness, non-opposition. You've established that there's a witness. Untainted by the wild illusion. But now, because you've established then there's a witness, you can turn away from the wild illusion and go, but what is the witness? Now the witness has nothing to witness. And so it falls in its witnessing capacity. That falls away. Now that there's no object being witnessed, the witnessing aspect of awareness falls away as an illusion. And now there's just beingness. There's no witnessing. This is the holy instant. No witness, no witnessed, just beingness. Awareness isn't a watcher or a witness. It's something we do to begin freeing ourselves from mind identification, from taking the wild illusion seriously. It's a halfway step. Again, awareness isn't a doing. It's not an understanding. It's not a watching or a witnessing. It is a being and a letting be. Awareness isn't even witnessing. It is being. Awareness is all that's left when there is a resting from doing anything, trying to understand something, trying to focus on something, trying to witness something. Awareness is what's left when you let all things be exactly as they are. And there's no doing or trying or attempting to understand or witnessing or controlling. Awareness is what's left when you let that go, not when you indulge it. And what's rediscovered is freedom. Complete and total freedom, complete salvation. Course says it is at this moment that complete salvation is offered you, and at this moment that you can accept it. This is still your one remaining responsibility to know salvation, which is freedom, complete freedom from everything. Atonement can be equated with a total escape from the past. So nothing you've learned means anything. And a total lack of interest in the future. There's nothing to make happen. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to learn. There's nothing to control. I don't have to make something new happen in a new moment. That's the trap. That's the trap of thinking you have to do something, thinking there is a doer, thinking you have to understand something, thinking there's something you need to control, thinking there's something you need to witness. It would all be to try and make something happen in the next moment. That's not atonement. Atonement is now or never. The truth is now. It's not in the past. It's not in the future. It's now. And you are the truth, except there's no you. There's just the truth. There's just awareness. There is no you that claims awareness or rests in awareness. That's the wild illusion trying to rest in awareness. But that wild illusion isn't you. You are awareness. You are awareness. You've been home in God all along, despite the wild illusion pretending to be you. The content of the mind, which has nothing to do with salvation, nothing to do with freedom. Freedom has been here all along, despite the mind. Awareness is the essence that's left here when there's no attempt to do, no attempt to understand, no attempt to control, when you just let go. All the trying to understand, all the trying to control, all the trying to do was veiling what was here all along. Freedom. God. Beingness, which is what you are. There's no you. There's beingness. You are what beingness is. That's what you've been all along. The rest is a wild illusion. It's the dream world of the mind. None of it's true. So if there's a success in dropping all attempting to do, all attempting to understand, all attempting to control, when there's a successful relinquishment of all that, and you rest as awareness, you realize there is no you. There's just this awareness. You are what awareness is. There is no me, a story that rests in awareness. There's just storylessness. There's just what's here when we let the stories go. All of them. Story of the course student, the story of the one who's trying to understand, the story of the one who's trying to get it right, the story of the one that's searching for that perfect piece of information that'll make it all work. Stories. What's here when you let all the stories go? What is the storylessness? Freedom. Resting as awareness. Resting in God, as God. So you'll notice that as soon as you discover what the Course calls the holy place, where thoughts can enter not, thoughts immediately start trying to attack it. They start trying to entice you back into the fictional fantasy thought world, into the dream, into the dreaming. And go, oh, we have an opinion on this. Do you remember that thing we read? I don't know. Is this strong enough? Is it not strong enough? I don't know if it's quite like. I mean, what do you think? You should ask us. We want to make this into a concept. That's the dream. That's the thoughts. That's the wild illusion. You have to catch that and go, they're thoughts. That's the dream. But what does it have to do with what's here when I let all the dream be exactly as it is? What does it have to do with the holy place where thoughts, concepts, doing, understanding, controlling, but that can't be. What does it have to do with what I am when I rest as awareness? When I know myself as awareness, not an imaginary me resting in awareness. That's a thought. It's the wild illusion. What's here when I let that story go of the me that's resting in awareness? Just awareness. Not doing, not focusing, not understanding, not witnessing. Just this. Just what's here when I rest in God. And you notice how thoughts desperately trying to pull you back into the fantasy world of thoughts, into the dream of a me, a little separated ego. It's all thoughts. It's not real. It was never real. There was only ever this awareness, what you are. So you stay here. That's the practice. That's what all this is for. It's what every workbook lesson is training you to do. It's what all the forgiveness is for. To reveal resting in God as the only truth. What was here all along. What was never absent. Despite the dream, which is the mind, which is thought, the dream master. Salvation is nothing more than the escape from concepts. You can't rest in God. You can't rest as awareness if you bring one concept from A Course in Miracles with you. You cannot bring one concept, not a wrong-minded one, not a right-minded one. You cannot bring one story with you, one concept with you across the threshold from illusion into truth. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands onto your God. That's what all this is about. Going home. To storylessness. To beingness. To the holy place the dream has never touched. To the place where thoughts have no power. The truth they couldn't displace. What you are in God. What you've been all along. What you are now. What you'll always be. Lesson 131. For several minutes, watch your mind and see. There's the witnessing. Although your eyes are closed, the senseless world you think is real. You think there's something out there except the awareness you are. It's just awareness appearing as images. That's all that's there. But because you were in the thought world, because you thought you were a doer, you thought you were an understander of thoughts, you thought you were a controller, you thought there was a world of multiplicity and diversity. You thought there was separate selves. defined by bodies. It's not there. It's the wild illusion. So for several minutes, watch your mind and see. So this is the witness. Although your eyes are closed, the senseless world you think is real, the world made of thoughts, the wild illusion. Review the thoughts as well, still witnessing, which are compatible with such a world. Good ones, bad ones, right ones, wrong ones. That should be happening. That shouldn't be happening. That's not right. That's right. Witnessing those wild illusions. So review these thoughts as well, which are compatible with such a world and which you think are true. The thoughts, as we've come to realize, they're not true at all. Then let them go and sink below them to the holy place where they, thoughts, can enter not. End of witnessing. There is a door beneath them in your mind which you could not completely lock to hide what lies behind. The truth. Seek for that door and find it. The door under thoughts. Underneath the illusion of doing and figuring it out and trying to understand it and controlling and doing, underneath all that illusion made of thought, is a door. This is figuratively, obviously, but it is a portal. But before you try to open it, remind yourself no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth, because it's already true, and because you are the truth. You just mixed yourself up with a whole load of nonsense in the mind's stories, all fiction. How could you fail? How could you fail to know yourself as what you already are? You just have to let everything go. And it is this request you make today. Nothing but this has any meaning now. Discovering what's here when you let everything go. No other goal is valued now, nor sought. Nothing before this door you really want. It's a bunch of thoughts. It's a bunch of stories, fictional stories. It's the dream. It's the wild illusion. What you are and what I am and what the world is, what everything is and what has to be done and what should be here and what shouldn't be here. It's a wild illusion. Nothing before this door you really want. You don't want the stories of the mind. The mind is the trickster. And only what lies past it do you seek. What's here? Underneath the illusion of the doer and the thinker and the controller and the one who's figuring it out. What's here? And you let those stories go. Put out your hand, figuratively again. It's just a metaphor. See how easily the door swings open with your one intention to go beyond it. All you have to do is let go. That's it. Stop believing thoughts. Fall back into the great mystery, the unknowable, pure awareness. Nothing else within it, nothing else without it, nothing to hold on to, no concept. Just this. What is? When you want to go to sleep at nighttime, you don't do something. You don't do something. If you try to do going to sleep, watch what happens. You'd be awake all night. Because going to sleep is not a doing. It's an end of doing. It's a relinquishing. It's letting go. letting go of doing, letting go of understanding, letting go of controlling. It's just letting go. That's it. That's how you fall asleep in your bed. You let everything go. You let go of the story of who you are. You let go of the story of who it is beside you. You let go of the story of what you are, what you do, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you've attained, what you need, what you're still seeking, what you need to figure out. You let it all go and you fall asleep in your bed. Not by doing something, by letting go. Well, that's also what awakening is. It's not a doing. It's nothing you can understand. It's not something you control. It's a letting go. That's it. Letting the whole thing go. It's all stories. Letting all the stories go. And what's left is the truth. Storylessness. Now, again, figuratively, metaphorically, angels light the way so that all darkness vanishes. The darkness is the mind's stories, none of which are true. The stories of separateness and differences and good and bad and right and wrong and should and shouldn't and doing and thinking and trying to understand it and trying to control everything. That's the darkness. So that all the darkness vanishes. And you're standing in a light so bright and clear, you can understand all things you see. Any moment of surprise, perhaps, will make you pause before you realize the world you see before you in the light, in other words, knowing what you are, which isn't a concept, which you can't think about, which you can't have a story about. You can just be. You can just rest as awareness. You can just rest in God by resting as awareness. That's all you can do. But having let all the stories go, knowing this is the truth, you look out at the world and this is what everything is without thoughts. Everything is this. And this, the unspeakable, the unthinkable, is everything. Tiny moment of surprise, perhaps, will make you pause before you realize the world you see before you in the light, without any of the mind stories, reflects the truth you knew and did not quite forget and wandering away in dreams. What are dreams? The mind's stories. That's all. But they've never touched you, awareness. You don't have a story. You never did. That was the wild illusion. You've always been freedom. You're not something that has freedom. You are freedom. You are awareness. Lesson 109. We ask for rest today. Not doing, not trying to understand, not grasping, not seeking, not trying to control something, not witnessing. What's the rest I get when I let that all go now? We ask for rest today from all of that and quietness, unshaken by the world's appearances. It's all just awareness, appearing as a world, it's still awareness. It's all you, awareness. Except in the wild illusion, the dream, the mind. We ask for peace and stillness in the midst of all the turmoil born of clashing dreams. There's only one awareness here. Within awareness, there's a phenomenon where awareness forgets itself and thinks it's a me. It thinks it's a thinker and a worker out and a figurer out of things. It thinks it's a doer. It thinks it's a me that's separate and different from other me's out there. But that's the wild illusion. That's the dream of me. You're not a me. You're the awareness that's everything. The forms, the broken pieces seem to take me nothing for the whole. This, what is, what rests in God, what rests as awareness. The whole is in each one, and every aspect of the Son of God is just the same as every other part. So we ask for peace and stillness in the midst of all the turmoil born of the clashing dreams of me. We ask for safety and for happiness, although we seem to look on danger and on sorrow. That's all in the mind. It's got nothing to do with awareness. And we have the thought that will answer our asking with what we request. I rest in God, not in thoughts, not in stories, not in thinking, understanding, doing, controlling. When I let that go, there is only the rest of God. This thought will bring you the rest and quiet, peace and stillness, and the safety and the happiness you seek. See, the mind wants this. The mind wants peace and stillness and holiness, but it wants to have it. It doesn't want to be it. So the mind has to go to establish what is. I rest in God. One of the most powerful lines in the Course in Miracles coming up. This thought has the power to wake the sleeping truth in you, the silence, the stillness, the rest, the holy place where thoughts can enter not. This thought has the power to wake the sleeping truth in you, whose vision sees beyond appearances. Everything is just appearances in awareness, of awareness, known by awareness. That's all that's here is awareness. Whose vision sees beyond appearances to that same truth in everyone and everything there is. Just this. Just beingness. Just freedom. Just peace. Here is the end of suffering for all the world and everyone who ever came and yet will linger for a while. Here is the thought in which the Son of God is born again, out of thoughts, out of mind identification, to recognize himself and rest in God. Completely undismayed, this thought will carry you through storms and strife, past misery and pain, past loss and death, and onwards to the certainty of God. This, what you are, what everything is untouched by what happens to the body's adventures, what people seem to think of the body, what thoughts are saying, what thoughts tell you are, what thoughts tell you what the world is, what thoughts tell you God is. The truth is completely unaffected by any of that. That's just the wild illusion. That's just the dream. That's the mind. That's what the mind does. It spins stories. None of them are true. Only the truth is true. There is no suffering it cannot heal. This rest, this holy place, thoughts can't violate. This place where there's nothing to understand and no one to understand it. Where there's nothing to do and no one to do it. This rest. There is no problem it cannot solve, and no appearance but will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God. All the separateness the mind wants to interpret in the world, the good guys and the bad guys, the victims and the victimizers, that's the mind. It's the wild illusion. That's the storyteller. It's the dream master. Telling stories about the appearances of awareness that have no effect on awareness. So when you turn back towards the appearances without the mind's stories, all the appearances will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God. Everything is the same. Everything and everyone is this, what rests in God. Awareness. No self and other. It's the dream. The mind made that up. There's just this. This is the day of peace. You rest in God. You rest as awareness. You let go of trying to understand anything, do anything, control anything. You let go and find yourself resting in God. And while the world is torn by winds of hate, your rest remains completely undisturbed. Yours is the rest of truth. Appearances, all the appearances of bodies that are being born and dying and coming and going and shifting and changing and suffering and dying, those appearances can't intrude on you. You rest in God. And all you see is this rest behind all the appearances. Now you've let the mind go. Doesn't mean there's not still raucous shrieking from the ego, from the mind, from the dream master, but now you're not interested. Now you're interested in what rests in God, not the mind's fictional stories. Yours is the rest of truth. Appearances cannot intrude on you. You call to all to join you in your rest, and they will hear and come because you rest in God. They will not hear another voice than yours because you gave your voice to God. The me is gone. There's just stillness speaking. And now you rest in Him and let Him speak through you. In Him you have no cares and no concerns. All the wild illusion, the mind's machinations, all the dreams made out of stories and thoughts, all the while they happened in perfect peace and stillness, which was never displaced by any of it. And all the while you've been this perfect peace and stillness, despite the mind's turmoil, the stories it spins. None of them have ever touched this, the holy place that you are, what everything is. In him you have no cares, no concerns, no burdens, no anxiety, and no one to have any of those problems. Just this, the unthinkable, the unknowable, the truth, the emptiness. The emptiness all the hubbub arose in and dissolves back into. Heaven. In timelessness. See, time is in the mind. It's not in awareness. Time is manufactured by thoughts. There's only now. It's not a now that's halfway between the past and the future. No. There's only the holy instant. There's just now. That's all that was ever here. Everything else is in the mind. It was illusion. Thoughts. Believed stories. In timelessness, you rest, while time goes by without its touch upon you. All the images, all the appearances will get old, they'll sicken, they'll die. What does that have to do with you? Awareness. What does it have to do with awareness? Your rest can never change in any way at all. It never did. It's not changing now. That's the mind, the trickster, the dream. Your rest can never change at all. It never did. That's the atonement. Nothing happened. Nothing changed. That's just the mind, the ego mind. It's just a dream. Laughing at the tiny mad idea means laughing at the mind. All of its silly stories caused you to forget that you rest in God, and it cannot be otherwise. You rest today, and as you close your eyes, sink into stillness. No thinking, nothing to work out, nothing to do, nothing to understand, nothing to control. Let all that go and sink into the stillness that was here all along, that all that nonsense was covering up. Let these periods of rest and respite reassure your mind that all its frantic fantasies were but the dreams of fever that has passed away. Stories, dreams made out of stories, thoughts. Let it be still and thankfully accept its healing. No more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God. So now we have to be vigilant for God and his kingdom. Thoughts, they're going to keep coming for a while. They're going to bring out the big guns. They're going to tell you, no, if you stay here in God, you'll die. You'll be useless in your life. You'll be no good to anyone. This is nonsense. You should take up knitting, the spirituality lark. No, come back into the thought world. Come back into the dream. Listen to us. We're going to tell you stories about resting in God. We're going to have comparisons about it. We're going to say whether it's good or bad or right or wrong, whether you're doing it right, whether you're doing it wrong. Come listen to our stories. Forget God. Believe our stories. Stories are your salvation. Concepts, thoughts. That's your salvation, not God. And back into the thought world. Have thoughts about resting in God. Don't rest. Do thoughts. Do concepts. Do thinking. Try to work it all out with us. And back to sleep. back to sleep. No more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God. Take time today to slip away from dreams. That's what the wild illusion is doing, all the thoughts in your mind, and into peace. The holy place thoughts can't touch or violate, where they have no power. Each hour that you take your rest today, a tired mind is suddenly made glad. It's like, thank God, I was wrong about everything. I believed the mind. I believed thoughts. What a relief to realize there was never anything to do, never anything to understand, never anything to control, just letting it all go. And finding the truth that was never missing. Returning home where you never left. Because you are home. There is no you, there's home. Each hour that you take your rest today, a tired mind is suddenly made glad. A bird with broken wings begins to sing. A stream, long dry, begins to flow again. These are metaphors. The world is born again each time you rest, because the world doesn't mean anything except what you say it means. It's whatever your mind says made everything seem like it was different, that some bits were good and some bits were bad and some bits were important and some bits were dead and some bits were alive and some bits are past and some bits are future. The whole thing's made up. That's the thought world. That's the dream, the mind. And they will hear the bird begin to sing and see the stream begin to flow again with hope reborn and energy restored to walk with lightened steps along the road that suddenly seems easy as they go. You rest within the peace of God today. You always did. You just got involved with the mind. And call upon your brothers from your rest to draw them to their rest along with you. Because everyone is this with you. There's just this. Everything else is the dream, the mind. Everyone is the capital S self. There's just the capital S self here, appearing as appearances. And the appearances don't mean anything. Everything is the capital S self. You will be faithful to your trust today, forgetting no one, bringing everyone into the boundless circle of your peace, the holy sanctuary where you rest. See, if this is not the truth of everything, it's not the truth. You're still believing thoughts. You're still identified with the mind. That's differentiating. That's telling different stories about different things. Unless what you are, the emptiness, peace, the holy place where thoughts can't violate, that they never have. Unless this is the truth of everything and everyone with you, it's not the truth. You're still believing the mind, the dream, stories. Open the temple doors. How do you do that? Let it all go. All the trying to understand, all the doing, all the controlling. You just let it go. They're thoughts. And let them come from far across the world and near as well. Your distant brothers, your closest friends, bid them all enter here and rest with you. Because all there is here is freedom. Nothing else inside of it, nothing else outside of it. Just freedom. The truth, the dream, couldn't hide, couldn't displace, couldn't attack, couldn't change. They're just thoughts. The dream. You rest within the peace of God today, quiet and unafraid. There's nothing here to be afraid, never mind fear. Just God. Each brother comes to take his rest and offer it to you. See, every time you see this as the truth of everything else, you reinforce it in yourself. You rest within the peace of God today, quiet and unafraid. Each brother comes to take his rest and offer it to you. When you see the truth in your brother, it reinforces it in you. It keeps it present in you. You have to keep giving it away to hold it. So the mind doesn't get a hold of you again and tell you its stories about self and other and differences and good and bad and living and dead. We rest together here. For thus our rest is made complete. And what we give today, we have received already. It was here all along. And the way I hold it in my awareness is to see it everywhere. Just this, the unspeakable, the unthinkable, the great mystery, the silence, the quiet, that is everything, and that everything is. And there's nothing else but this, the truth. Time is not the guardian of what we give today. Time is in the mind. This is spirit. We give to those unborn and those passed by, to every thought of God, and to the mind in which these thoughts were born and where they rest. And we remind them of the resting place each time we tell ourselves, I rest in God. Not in trying to understand, not in trying to figure anything out, not in doing, not in controlling. When I let those illusions go, all that's left is the truth. Everywhere. Not a single hand up. Lynn, my lovely assistant, will send you an invite to take yourself off mute.
Hello, let me change my video setting.
You look like we're on the Simpson family.
So I think this might have come from the post that I responded to on the Facebook. That I had that experience of resting in awareness all day long. And
Can I just say,
it starts with the meditation.
Yeah, now
It starts
let
with
me
the meditation,
me just
and
let me
it's
now,
like,
Lynn,
yeah,
before you get carried away, let me just introduce a very important correction here. Now, hold your story. I'm not shutting you down, but this is very important. It's
okay.
not an experience.
No, I know it's not an experience,
The mind is full of
but it
experience.
does have to start with an experience. It's kind of like a rocket booster.
Okay, the truth is not an experience. All experiences happen in the mind. All right. The truth is what all experiences happen in.
No, but I'm saying, do you remember the part where when I fell asleep, I lost complete track of time? I thought I was still awake the whole time.
Okay.
And that I got up and I thought I didn't fall asleep, but I did fall asleep because it was 5.5 hours later and I thought it was 15 minutes later. I just stayed in awareness, and if that was freaky. My son, he says, Mom, that could be like the start of schizophrenia. And I laughed and I thought, maybe this whole thing is like schizophrenia. So we're all the same. Um, but yeah, it's it's almost like I just want to, my experience with I've been listening to you for several months now, almost on a daily basis. And it's just the quietness. I always think, what would Jesus do? And I always think of Jesus as a very calm, peaceful entity. I mean, with just, I go back to like, I used to used to do this thing. Ever see the movie Being John Malkovich, where you
No.
see through the eyes of another person? Um, it's a silly movie, but it's a kind of like seeing through the eyes of an infant. I mean, what is an infant looking at? Just just looking at the world. So I thought, well, what if I go through and look through the eyes of the Holy Spirit? So it's kind of like rising above and just looking out. But it does start with a meditation. It's easiest to get it into a meditative state, and it's kind of like a
Well, that's a
walking
belief.
meditation
Yeah,
all day long.
that's a belief. That's a thought.
I know it's a thought,
No, 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 no.
but
But. So first of all that story about what happened when you fell asleep and time went funny, is that anything but a bunch of thoughts in this moment?
yeah, it is.
So could you let them go forever
Yeah,
and stop indulging the ego's thought world? Can you just let them go?
yes.
Because this is always about now, now or never. Atonement is a total escape from the past, not going
Mhm.
into any spiritual experiences, not telling myself stories about it, not
Right.
medicating myself with stories. It's getting the hell out of stories. It's about now. It's about what's here in this moment. See, that dream world, the mind, is the fictional thought world is very compelling. It'll go, oh, now you're starting to touch into the truth there, Lynn. So why don't you come back into a story about that very fascinating thing that happened
Oh,
to
I
you
know.
when the time went funny? Come on into the thought world. Have tea with me. The ego, it's fabulous. We'll talk about these thoughts like they're real. But actually, none of that has anything to do with now, this
Right.
moment. So that's the first thing I want to say. Now, the second thing I want to say is that when we go back with the training wheels, we can say things like, what would Jesus do?
Mhm.
But at some point, you got to take the training wheels off because is Jesus anything more than a thought in your mind?
No,
Is Lynn anything more than a thought in your mind?
no,
What would happen if you let the thoughts go? What
total
would,
peace.
yeah. Now, is there anyone in the piece or is there just peace?
Just peace.
Is there anyone resting in God or is there just the peace of God?
Just the peace.
That's the freedom.
Hmm.
No stories, no stories, just peace. And this
And it's
peace,
not doing, like you say, it's being.
it's not a doing. So
Just being.
we don't need to do looking through the eyes of Jesus. We don't need to do the meditation to accomplish something and put ourselves. See, this is the mind saying, no, 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 keep doing. Keep striving for something. See,
Hmm.
the next moment will save you. If you meditate in this moment, you find salvation, which is freedom, in the next moment. But
Hmm.
that never comes. When
Hmm.
you get there, the ego is going, if you could just understand this a bit better, if you could just tweak your understanding, if you could find different thoughts, if you could think about this in a different way, if you could
Hmm.
find a new guru, if you could find, it's like there's something, the ego is like, oh no, there's something missing. There's thoughts you need. You need more thoughts.
Yeah.
A book is going to come, a meditation is going to speak words to
Right.
you. There's going to be something, you see, but all the while, truth is already here.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's always here. So remember to rest in God. All you have to remember is that awareness is already here. Maybe there's a massive ego attack going on in the wild illusion, but there's already awareness of the ego attack.
Hmm.
Already, the rest of God is here. It doesn't have to be sought in the next moment. It's the
Right.
message of I rest in God. That's the message of the atonement, is that you don't need any past learnings. Throw them all out. No concept is true. No practice is true. Throw them all out. Total escape from the past. Throw everything out. No thought is true. And a total escape, a total lack of interest in the future. Nothing to practice, nothing to do, nothing to become, no meditation, no looking through the eyes of anything. That was the baby stuff. Let it all go, throw it all out. And what's left? That was all the content of awareness. All the mad thoughts, the holy ones and the unholy ones, and the being pushed in different directions, and the stories and the thinking and the working it out and trying to get it right and doing things to find salvation in the next moment. That's all the content of awareness. So, what about when I just let that go? When there's rest? Now, all there is awareness, free of all the
Right.
content.
Yeah.
And what you are is what everyone is.
Hmm.
And from here, there now is a switch out of thinking, out of involvement with the wild illusion, the mind. And now there's only spontaneous intuition that arises in each moment as a knowing before disappearing forever and leaving no trace in the emptiness, in the peace.
Yeah. And then my ego goes, then why would I want to
No,
do
no, no,
that?
no, 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 no. But that's just no, 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 no. But that's not. You're not an ego.
Yeah.
That's that. Those thoughts aren't you.
Mm.
See, you didn't catch that. You have to go, oh, that's a thought.
Right. No, that's a
I didn't
thought.
think that. Yeah, no, we all do. Yeah, no, so it's very important. And you're gonna have to catch yourself a million times. And that's where it's helpful to have someone like me pounce on you and go, you didn't catch that thought. You thought you thunk that thought. You didn't. What you are isn't thinking. That's the wild illusion. That's the mind. You rest in
Right.
God. You're already freedom. And the only problem is that you keep overlooking freedom to think you're the one thinking the thoughts in the wild illusion. But no one's thinking them.
Right.
There are no egos. As the Course says, the ego is only an idea. It's not a fact at all. There's no such thing as an ego. There's just an assumption that someone is thinking these thoughts. There's no one. You've been freedom all along. You've never left God. You never had those ego thoughts. Those thoughts have nothing to do with you. They're just thoughts. There's not even an ego entity. There's just a whole bunch of thoughts going on in the mind, which is the dream. And it has nothing to do with you. So all this is about, if you want total freedom now, like we all say, oh, I want the peace of God. Oh, I want to be enlightened. It's very simple. Stop believing every thought. That's it. Don't try to stop them. Don't try to shout them down. Don't try to fix them. Don't try to change them. Don't beat yourself over the head with a Course of Miracles when you get tricked by them. Just stop believing them. Don't engage with them. Don't try to rearrange them. Don't try to make them hold your thoughts. You go, oh, look, thoughts. What does that have to do with what rests in God? Nothing.
Nothing.
That's it. That's how simple it is. So the
Hmm.
ego will trick you and go, you should have thoughts about this
Right.
thought. This is a thought that's worthy of your thoughts and your attention, and you should have a lot more thoughts about this, and you should have questions about it, and you should get other people's thoughts about your thoughts, and we should do because the ego doesn't care once you're thinking. Once you think you're thinking, it's thoughts. But you're not. You're already freedom. You already rest in God. no matter how the mind tries to trick you and pull you back into fantasy land, into dream world, you're the awareness. That's what you are. You are what everyone is. So there's
Have
two
you
ways.
been able to accomplish this?
Yeah. So to even begin to describe what it is, to
Or they're just thoughts?
look out. You see, I have to use thoughts to
Right,
communicate. That's
right,
why, how do
absolutely.
you even begin to describe a world where there's no thoughts?
Hmm.
But what I would say is that that first time the mind stops and you look out on a world with no projections and everything is the rest in God. There's just there's just the unspeakable, the unthinkable, which is appearing as everything and everyone is the unthinkable and the unspeakable. Now, that's an awakening.
Right.
Now, from the first time that happened, there was this process of noticing, oh, I think I'm thinking. I think I'm something separate to everything else. And you let it go and you just come back to the truth, to the rest in God. And then there's no thoughts. And then some little thoughts will happen, but they don't fool you. You can't get sucked in by them. You don't identify with them. You just notice that there's thoughts happening in awareness. But what do they have to do with awareness? Um, so, but for me, can there still be getting pulled into the thought world before I realize it and have to come back? Yeah, that still happens. So I don't
Hmm.
consider myself, I'm not finished. I'm not done because I can still, I can notice how some unresolved guilt in me causes me to go back into the thought world, make up a self, project out a world, and see differences in good and bad and right and wrong and victims and victimizers. But the minute you do that, there's suffering and you go, oh, something's wrong. This is not right. I was selfing. I was selfing and othering. I went back into the thought world. I abandoned my knowing that there's just God. I went back into the dream. So that still happens for me. That's why I've never claimed enlightenment. I've said awakening, yes, and I can point to that for others, and I can say what it is. Um, but in terms of that final, complete, forever break with the ego, that's something that which is the most important thing I work on every single day. There's nothing more important than me noticing when I've gone back into the thought world and letting it all go, coming back to resting as awareness. There is nothing more important in my day than catching that every single time and just coming home from illusion to what's true.
Hmm.
So that's what my day is now, which very much so feels like stepping in and out of the illusion of being an ego, of being a person, of being a separate self.
Yes.
So that's my practice where it's at. Um, and and as I practice, there's more and more time during the day where there's no where thoughts have no power. They can't fool me. It just lasts longer. Because in the beginning I could only just stay here for 5 seconds, 10 seconds before the thoughts would bring me back in again.
Do
Now
you
it's
notice
it's
that when you're doing this, that you have changes in the dream?
I've no interest. That doesn't interest me in the slightest.
I know, but
That doesn't. So that's just the mind's hypnosis. Going, this is relevant to you. This is relevant to you. You should worry about the body and what will happen to the. No, no, it has nothing to do with the truth. It's a dream. It means nothing. It means nothing. That's the trap. I'm not a body. I'm free. I'm still as God created me.
yeah, I recite that like constantly.
Yeah, but don't let yourself start hugging thoughts, or the ego still
Yeah.
has you.
Oh,
So
I
the
know. Then
course
the
is
ego's got me. So,
so remember the course is really helpful concepts to free yourself from all concepts and then let all concepts go. So
Mhm.
forget this world, forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. So when you're trapped in the thought world, you need thoughts in order to extricate yourself from it, to free yourself from the mind.
Mhm.
Um, the most powerful is forgiveness. But what would happen in this very moment if I just let everything the wild illusion is doing be exactly as it is? What would be here in this moment? Now, those words bring you home to the place where there's no words, to the holy place where thoughts can enter not. So now, once again, having got lost to the illusion, the mind, the dream, now, and having used right-minded thoughts to free yourself from mind identification, once again, you forget this world, forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands onto your God. So you just keep touching home here. If it's only for 2 seconds in the
Oh,
beginning,
I
that's
know.
gold. That's gold.
Yeah.
That's gold. But when you go back into the mind, don't start having thoughts about it. Don't have a story about it. Don't keep memories about it. Each time you come home to God, you just let everything go. No more stories about the stories. You just let it go. Always coming home to God is letting go of doing, trying to understand, trying to think, trying to become, looking for the next moment to say. It's coming home to God just means letting all that go and discovering the truth that was never absent. Does that make sense, Lynn?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks a million. So just
No,
watch how the mind will keep trying to pull
yeah.
you in with stories. Do you remember that
I
spiritual
keep thinking those
experience
are
that you
just
had?
thoughts. Those are
Yeah.
just thoughts.
Yeah. So even no matter how glorious a spiritual experience is, as soon as it happens, it's done.
Mhm.
It's not for this moment. That was a different moment. It has nothing to do with this moment. It is about coming home to God in this moment, not in a memory. That's the ego's world.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect, Lynn. Thanks a million. That was a really good illustrative question. Thanks a million.
You're welcome.
Marcia, my dear, um, my lovely assistant will send you an invite to take yourself off mute.
That was really, really good. Very helpful. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Um, yeah, it's just, oh, I just love it all. Now, the thing is, like you said, the most important thing to you is this resting and I'm just paraphrasing, it's sort of like arriving at God, but isn't that like trying?
No, no, you must understand. This isn't something that passes. That's why I said to Lynn, this isn't an experience. That's why I cut her
Right,
off and said it's very important. You
right.
don't think this is an experience. This isn't coming and going. This isn't
No,
something that you leave and come back to. This is the truth that's never absent. It's always here. Now, all that happens is you get involved with the dream, with your mind. Now, so all you do is you let go.
right.
You
Okay, so
know that you are where you've never left.
yeah, but that's still kind of a thought and a doing.
But I've said when you get embroiled in thoughts in the thought world, you
Uh,
need thoughts. You need a thorn to remove a thorn.
exactly. I was just going to
Okay.
say that. The thorn to remove the thorn.
But then you
Yeah,
must drop both thorns. That's why I
yeah,
said to Lynn, don't use a mantra. Don't go around saying, oh, I'm not a body, I'm free, I'm still as God created me. That's crap. That's a right-minded thought, which is meant to return you to the holy place where thoughts can enter not, but not something that you start making love to and clinging to and holding on to, because you can't come home to God with a single concept.
yeah.
But when you're embroiled in concepts, you need a concept that's going to get you out. So that could be I'm never upset for the reason I think. I'm upset because I'm listening to thoughts and thinking I'm
Yeah,
thinking them and thinking
yeah.
I'm an ego. The answer is I let this all go, all of it. I don't try and fix it or change it or replace it, or I let it go and come
It
home
just
to the holy
is.
place. Yeah. So the purpose of right-minded thoughts isn't to go around hugging new thoughts because the ego loves that. The only purpose is remember, use the course's concepts, then forget the world, forget the course, and come at
Sure.
holy empty hands unto your God. So always the right-minded thoughts are a way of ending your identification with the mind.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, once there's no identification with the mind, then it doesn't matter what the mind is doing, it's not you. And it has nothing to do with your rest. It has nothing to do with the stillness that's here. Thoughts are happening all by themselves. There's nobody doing them, there's nobody thinking them. The only error is to think you're the imaginary separate self that's thinking them. But that doesn't exist, that's a thought. You already rest in God.
And I think that I'm a mind outside of time and space. So I'm still thinking I'm mind, but that would perhaps be the true self,
So
the mind that's
awareness,
joined with God.
but awareness, there's only one awareness.
Yeah.
There's only one awareness. So you can
Okay.
call that God. You can call that
Okay.
God in creation because there's just one mind, the capital
Right.
M mind, which is awareness. Now, within that capital M mind, there is the small m mind, which is totally
Mm-hmm.
illusory, right?
Yeah. Right.
So all the time this happens. This happens in heaven, made out of heaven, with no effect on heaven. All right, it's just a thought. All right, it has no effect on the truth. So within the small m mind, there is identification with thoughts.
Yeah.
You to think
Right.
that you're an I am this. But then there's also within this illusory mind, this consciousness, there's also freedom from thoughts. So
Mm-hmm.
at this point, I think there's a me that is awareness. There's a me that knows awareness as the truth of everything. This is still an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
with this practice, even that falls away, and
Okay.
all there is awareness.
Yes, awareness.
So wrong-minded consciousness is awareness unaware of itself. Its identity as awareness is veiled from itself because it's identified with thoughts. So it doesn't recognize itself as awareness.
Wow.
It thinks it's a thinker of thoughts, thinks it's an object. All right. Now
Yeah.
that's wrong-minded consciousness. Now,
Okay. Yeah.
right-minded consciousness, which is still an illusion, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
right-minded one. Right-minded
Mm-hmm.
consciousness is awareness aware of itself, going, "Oh, I am awareness." All right. Now that's a right-minded thought. It's not true, but it's a
No.
right-minded thought, and it's the curing of thinking I'm a thinker.
Okay.
All right. So
Yeah.
it's I am as the correction for I am this. All right. Now, but ultimately, when we rest in God, even that falls away as illusion, and there's only the absolute. In other words, this is awareness unaware of itself.
Right. Um.
That's the truth. Now there's no self to be found anywhere. There's no, oh, we're all the same selves. There's just the truth. There's
mm,
just what is.
mm.
But there's no
When we
selves to be found.
sorry. When we go towards the Holy Spirit's purpose.
Now,
Um.
Marcia, these are all thoughts.
All right.
So, Marcia,
Yeah. Well, that.
okay, well, 1 second now. So,
Okay.
in this moment, you think that you are a self that has to go somewhere. Does that sound like a total escape from a total lack of interest in the future?
No. No.
Okay, so I am a self that needs to do something is a concept. Can you just let that concept go just for now?
Mm-hmm. 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 Yes.
And the Holy Spirit's concept is the idea that it's something other than you, that there's duality. So can you let go of the idea that there's a you that has any will apart from the Holy Spirit?
Yeah.
And what
I can
remains?
let it go.
What
Well,
remains?
beingness. Just
Yes.
being.
Yeah. Now,
And
no. Now, before you go into thoughts, beingness is here.
I know
Period.
thoughts, thoughts,
Period.
thoughts.
No. Come back. Come back. Beingness is here. Period. Complete
Yeah.
salvation is here. Period. Now, the teaching is you stay here. Don't go back and involved with the mind. Now,
And then you
when you do, you use a miracle to get the hell out as soon as possible. You don't stay there trying to fix things and work things out and change things and do things and become things and
no,
practice
no,
things.
no, no,
No,
no,
you
no.
immediately you notice, oh, I'm back in the dream. Can I just let all things, can I let the dream be exactly as it is to discover the awareness that was never absent? What rests in God.
So Jesus says he's in charge of the miracle. Now, that would be going back down the ladder a little bit to
Look,
spiritual
look,
kindergarten.
look. The forms the broken pieces seem to take mean nothing. Marcia, Keith, Jesus, Sparkles, Linda, the Pope. The forms don't mean anything. There's only one capital S self-awareness as the truth of everything and everyone. That's all that's here. All right,
Yeah.
that's all that's here. Now, the course is written and it says, you know, when the course says, I am in charge of the miracle, that's your right mind. That's awareness is in control of the miracle, not the imaginary thinking self you think you are when you're insane, because it can't do anything. It can't be in charge of anything because it's an idea.
Right.
It can't have any. That's the self that you think you are is an idea. How could an idea have control? How could an idea do something? How could an idea accomplish something? It can't. It's only an idea. So when the course says, I am in control, that's your right mind. That's awareness. That is the Holy Spirit, which is all that's here. That's what's talking, going, don't identify as an idea and think you can do something. Who is the you that's going to do a miracle? Who is the you that's in the world? Who is the you that thinks it's thinking? Who is the you that thinks you are something other than what rests in God? It doesn't exist. So this is the course saying, don't try and do something. Don't try and accomplish something. Don't try and do miracles because the part what you think you are doesn't exist. It's just an idea in your mind. You are the Holy Spirit. So, but the doer isn't real. If you're trying to do things, if you're trying to become things, if you're trying to find salvation in the next moment, an idea can't find salvation because it's just an idea. If you let all the ideas go, all that's left is the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you say that inspiration comes. We don't do anything in the world anymore. We're just when we are in that moment, we just automatically say or do, or I mean,
Saying and doing and deciding is spontaneous from the silence.
okay.
It is spontaneous intuition that doesn't get involved with the wild illusion. It doesn't dip back into the mind, the crazy illusion. So in other words, so from when let's read this again. Simply do this. Be still. Lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is. All concepts you've learned about the world. All images you hold about yourself. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad. Of every thought it judges worthy, of all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Hold on to nothing. Do not bring with you one thought the past has taught, nor one belief you ever learned before from anything. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. You cannot rest in God with a single concept from A Course in Miracles.
So basically, we just throw the book out.
You just surrender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Either
Well,
you stop believing your thoughts, either you just embrace the emptiness that's here that nothing can be said about, that you can't hold a single concept about it. That's resting in God. There's no concept. There's nothing to hold on to and no one to hold on to it. There's just freedom, but nothing else except freedom. There's nothing in the freedom. Nothing came home to freedom. Nothing leaves the freedom. There's just freedom. There's just the capital S self. So either you just stop getting involved in thoughts or you embrace the complete unknown that you can't entertain a single thought about.
mhm,
That's your two options.
mhm.
Okay. The whole Course in Miracles is about how you rest in God.
I love it. Yeah. And you've really brought that home today, Keith.
So
And,
when you
and
come home to the
it's,
rest, don't go back to the Course in Miracles.
yeah.
When you come home to the rest, you throw the Course in Miracles away. When you go back insane, thinking thoughts are true and that you're thinking them and that the dream of self and other is true and that you're a body and you were born. Once you're back in the dream, pick up the Course in Miracles, all right, have it deliver to you right-minded thoughts which will have you abandon your identification with all thoughts, including the Course's thoughts, and come home to God. But,
I love it.
but don't come home to God and go, oh, what does the Course in Miracles say? That's the mind winning. It's pulled
No,
you back into the
I
thought world.
totally get it. I
Okay,
get it. I
good.
do. Thank you so much, Keith. That was just so profound. Everything is just opening up. It's like just in the
So,
moment, it's
so let
opening.
let let the silence it evokes in you be profound. Do not be tempted to entertain a single thought about anything that was said in the podcast. Let
Oh,
it
because
point you
yeah,
to
you caught me
silence.
there.
Yes,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
this is not
Because
this is not fodder for thinking, or it's been useless.
yeah, got it.
Everything today has been about pointing you to a place where there's perfect peace and stillness for no one. To the place outside the dream where there's been no tiny mad idea. That was just in the
Right.
mind. It's not in spirit. So this has been one big pointing towards the place
Good
where there's
place.
nothing to do, nothing to understand, nothing to think, nothing to entertain. There's just this, the truth, which is the truth of everything and everyone.
Mm.
There's just this. So, but don't go, oh, what do my thoughts say about this? As though they're your friend, as though they're going to be helpful, as though they're
Yeah.
going to help you rest in God if you entertain them. That's the trap we all keep falling into. They're so sticky. They're like,
Oh,
no,
I
we're your
know.
friend. You should have massive thoughts about this. You should think it through. You should turn it into concepts. And
Fly
let's talk
paper.
let's talk about how your salvation in the future is going to happen by
No,
you
no.
understanding this, and you've lost the
Exactly.
atonement. Total escape from the past, nothing to know,
Mm,
nothing
yeah.
from the past is needed, and total lack of interest in the future.
Yeah.
Heaven is here already. There's nowhere else. Heaven is now, there's no other time. No teaching that does not lead to this is of concern to God's teachers. So watch the trap when the mind goes, let's have holy thoughts about this. Let's see how this is going to give us our salvation in the future. All that's a dream.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All that just means you're back in the dream. So when you notice that, you just go, oh, this is doing and trying to understand. Can I just let this go and
Right.
come home to God?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And if
Wherever
you
you are.
diligently practice that, at some point the mind will stop. And once the mind stops, and it might only be for 5 seconds or 10 seconds the first time it happens, and then you may have it longer where thoughts start up again, but you can't be fooled by them. They got nothing to do with the truth. You're like,
Right.
oh, look at those thoughts that mean nothing. And
Right.
there's just this incredible, vibrant, Course calls it, there's a place in your mind where this whole world is forgotten, where echoes of eternity are heard, where nothing but a song of
Mm.
thanksgiving to God rises
Mm.
from the Son to the Father. Um, once the mind stops, you have seen behind the wizard's curtain.
Yeah. Right.
You
Right.
know what the truth is, and therefore, whenever there's suffering, you know you've abandoned the truth, and you're back having tea with thoughts and
Yeah.
thinking you're a
Right.
thinker and
I
you're back
know.
trying to understand, and back trying to fix, and back trying to do, and back trying to,
Mm.
and you just let it go. You just immediately go, oh, this is the dream. Can I just let all that go and come home to God?
So absolutely in the moment. So you fall down and you break your ankle. You're still in the moment, letting all things be as they are. In that moment.
Well, this is very important. Awareness is always letting all things
There.
be exactly as they are.
No matter what happens.
Awareness isn't, the Course says, you've been asked not to judge. This is not to take a right off you. You cannot judge. Awareness can't judge.
Yeah.
You can only believe the ego's judgments, the dream, the wild illusion that pretends to be you, the mind. You can only believe the ego's judgments, all of which are false. So the
Right.
one who's going, oh, I fell down and it's terrible, that's not you. That's a wild
Mm.
illusion made of thoughts. You are still the awareness that can't judge any experience.
So what does awareness do? Ha ha. When one finds oneself splattered on the floor with a broken ankle, awareness is only love. So, does one just experience love no matter if you're on the cross or in an ambulance
Yeah,
or
but Marcia, is awareness ever on the cross?
no? I mean, Jesus was aware. That's true. Yeah,
Is
I
awareness
know.
ever on the cross? Does awareness ever
No,
fall down?
no. Yeah, but
You're just back in the wild illusion. You're back in thought world. Once
and
you're in thought
now,
world, you can never understand the truth in thought world because thought world
and
is what's veiling the real world.
and when that happens, then you're in fear of it happening again because you can't
Yeah, but
walk and your
yeah, but
knees are buckling.
who is the one? Is awareness afraid of anything?
No, but
So who's the one that's afraid?
well, it's the ego. It's not the
Well,
real
go and look.
me.
Go, but yeah, so go and have a look for this ego that's afraid in your mind. Go and tell me what you find. Now, thought's going to go me. That's a thought. That's concept. So, okay, to whom does this fear come that the me thought is referencing? Go and have a look and tell me what's there.
Well, it's fear of the body, fear for the body, so it has to be the
Oh, that sounds
ego.
like thoughts. That's Marcia. You're in the thought world. Don't ask your thoughts ever. So when I ask you a question, I'm not saying ask your thoughts. They're all liars. I'm saying
Um,
what's really there when you stop being hypnotized by the lies, when you stop believing what thoughts are saying is there. So now, again, who is the one to whom the fear belongs that the me thought is referencing? Go and find that entity, but find it without thoughts, without a story. The stories are all fiction. Go and see what's really there. Who is the one that owns the fear that the me thought is referencing? What's there? What's
who
really
owns
there?
it? Who
What's
owns
really there?
it? Well,
Who is the one to whom the fear comes that the me thought is referencing? What's there? Go and find that one and tell me what you find.
but there's nothing
Yeah, but
because it's
yeah,
the
no, no, but listen,
uh,
there's nothing because that's what you are. Now, tell me about the nothing. Has the nothing ever been wounded?
no,
Can it
because
be?
it's
No, 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 don't go into
beingness.
thoughts. Don't go into thoughts. Don't go into
Oh
thoughts.
God, this brain.
No, 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 but it doesn't matter what the brain does. It has nothing to do with the nothing. So this nothing, has it ever been wounded?
No, no,
Can it be?
no,
Does it have a body?
no,
Was it born? Is there past or future here?
no.
That's all thoughts. They're the wild. The nothing is the resting in God.
Okay,
All the
okay.
thoughts say, you're not no thing. You are a something. You are a one who fell down. You are a one who needs to be afraid of falling down in the future. There's no one. There's just no thing. There's just spirit. Spirit is an alive, awake, aware nothing. That's everything. That's what spirit is. The one who falls down, the one that's afraid, the one that thinks is a thought. It's a concept. It's a
Yeah,
lie. It
I see
doesn't
that.
exist. The self you made is not the Son of God, and therefore this self
Right.
does not exist at all. And anything it seems to think or do means nothing. It's
Yeah,
neither good nor bad. It's unreal
yeah.
and nothing more than that. That's why the Course says to us, I think it's lesson 248, if I'm not mistaken, um, what suffers isn't part of me. The
Right.
mind goes, the me. It's the me that's suffering. It's the
Hmm.
me that's suffering. It suffered the falling down. It's afraid of suffering. Of course, it's going, but what suffers isn't part of me. It's a self concept. It's a concept of a self being there that's not there. It's just an idea. The me thought hides the fact that there's no one there. There's just resting in God.
Yeah, yeah.
So what
That's true.
suffers isn't part of me. What is in pain, the me that's in pain, what is in pain is but illusion in my mind. There's no one there to be in pain. It's a concept of a self that doesn't exist. You always rest in God. You're not a body. You're not a separate self. You are what everything is. You're the capital S self. What you think you are that's not that does not exist. It's a concept. It's a bunch of thoughts that you've confused yourself with. So
Hmm.
what suffers is not part of me. What grieves is not myself. What is in pain is but illusion in my mind. The self that's in pain is illusion in my mind. What dies, the me, was never living in reality and but mocks the truth of me. It mocks the truth of the emptiness, the awareness,
Yes.
the no
Yes.
thingness, which I know when I rest in God.
Sure.
When all the
Yeah.
thought activity stops or when it's not believed, there is no me that suffered or has a past or has a. That's just all stories. There's just the storylessness that's here when I rest in God. That's the freedom. It's not freedom from some stories, it's freedom from all stories.
So that's the correction of the Holy Spirit. It's the correction of the error. I mean, I'm back to thinking about
You're back to
course.
thinking, just rest in God, Marcia.
All
Practice resting in God.
right. Honey,
Practice,
shut up.
forget. So use the course and then forget the course and rest in God.
When you see the Buddha on the road, kill him.
That's what it means. That's what it means.
I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. In the meantime, the very beginning,
But
it's
there's
at the
but there's no
course.
meantime. There's no meantime. It's always now. It's at this moment that complete salvation is offered you, and at this moment you can accept it. That's still your one responsibility. Atonement is a total escape from the past. Forget about everything you read in the course. All right. A total lack of interest in the future. Forget about becoming anything or doing anything or having a process. Let it all go and rest in God.
And
And
that's awareness.
the simple way, yeah, but even awareness is a word. I have to use a word, but unfortunately, I say awareness and
I know,
everyone
I
turns it
know.
into a concept in their mind.
Yeah,
They
I
turn it
know.
into a
I
thing,
know.
but
I
it's
know.
not a
I do
thing.
that.
It's what all things happen in, but
I
it's not a
know.
thing. It's not an experience. It's what all experience is happening in and untouched by any of it. I have to use a word like presence or awareness, but it's not that because that's a word, that's a concept. It's this is what's here where there's no concept, not even the concept of awareness, not even the concept of
Of a
presence.
concept.
There's no concepts in God. There's no
Well,
concepts when I rest in God. None.
the awareness of
Nothing to
love's
hold on to. Of
presence. So the awareness of love's presence actually really is not a concept. I mean, the course says that,
course,
remove
has
the
to use concepts.
blocks.
We
Yeah.
can't communicate with each other without concepts.
It
We
says
have to
remove the
use
blocks. Yeah.
we have to use symbols of symbols to discuss reality, but
Yeah.
none of the symbols are real. They're
Okay.
pointing towards a reality beyond the symbols. It's all a finger
Yeah.
pointed at the moon. If you stare only
Finger
at the
lifted at
finger,
the moon.
as soon as you get a taste of the truth, Marcia, you're back
Yeah.
going, you're back polishing the finger, polishing the signpost. It's
It's
like
true.
you
It's
went where the
true.
signpost was putting you, and you plonk yourself into the great unknown, the great mystery, the holy place where thoughts can enter not. And no sooner are you here that you're going back to the signpost, A Course in Miracles, and you're shining it, and you're saying, "Oh, you're such a
Yeah.
good sign," and you've left the truth. You're back at the
Yeah. Okay.
signpost truth.
I
Does that
get
make
it.
sense? Yeah.
It
So
sure
just
does.
the
Thank
tricks
you,
of the mind.
Keith.
Yeah, just the tricks of the
Thank
mind,
you.
Marcia.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
just to be aware. Pleasure.
Got it.
Right, Layla. So you will be our final hand in the air for today. So my lovely assistant will send you an invite. Leela, take yourself off mute and you can fire ahead.
Leah, I sent you a unmute. Did you get it? Let me send it again.
Oh,
Yep, there she's good.
okay, I'm here now.
Yep, go for it, Leela.
Well, I wanted to use this communication instrument to thank you so much for this podcast. And not only this one, and and also the ladies who ask questions, because so many of my um, secret questions are answered when they're bold enough to ask them out loud. But also, I watched a podcast of you 3 years ago, and I was wishing so bad it was live because you really made, and I'm sure you've said this over and over and over, but at this particular time, it just relieved so much guilt. What you said was, there is no lover, there's no one loved, there's just love.
Yeah.
And I'm always feeling guilty, or my mind is thinking, now, do you love that person more than that one? and
Yeah,
it just released me from that. I just wanted to say thank you. That's all.
beautiful. Yes. When you rest in, again, I don't particularly like, I don't, this is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, if I talk about where I'm at, I can give you tastes, and there's a value to that. There's a
Right.
value to me talking about it because it gives people tastes. The non-value is that you think you're something different than me, and that where I am is an achievement, and it's in the future for you, and the whole thing is wrong because you're just back in
Yeah.
the story world, you see. But so let me sort of break my rule for a moment and talk about because yesterday we took a trip on the bus to go to Dublin to meet up with some friends for some wine and some food. And so as I was traveling on the bus, I would notice how I would notice what the mind was up to. So first of all, I would be resting as awareness, which just means there's only awareness here, nothing else. There's just contentless awareness, right? And when I do, everything has the same taste. Everyone I'm looking at has the same taste. That's the way they say it in Zen. It's a lovely way of saying it. In other words, there's no differences. Everything is the same. The whole is in each one. Every aspect is just the same as every other part, right? Now, what I would notice then is that suddenly I would look at a particular face and the mind would say, I know what kind of person they are. And there was a different taste. There was a taste here that wasn't the taste here and wasn't the taste somewhere else. And then I had to go, can I just let this go and come back to the
Right.
place where there's only one taste and see it everywhere? So when I say I spend my day kind of noticing when I've gone back into the dream and just letting it all go to come back home to rest as awareness, which is to say to be awareness, because there's no me to be awareness, there's just awareness. But when I find myself selfing and othering, suddenly I'm going, I bet you that's the kind of person they are. Oh, and you notice how you're looking at someone, and the mind is saying, that's the kind of person they are. Now, mostly in the beginning, this is completely unconscious. Once you notice it, you can't not notice it. It's like the mind is going, bet you, oh, look at the scowl on that face. I know the kind of person that one is. Look at the twinkle in the eyes in that person. I'd say they're a great fun person, much better than a boring person. You're in the dream world. You're not getting the same taste everywhere. You're not resting in God. You let's take that quote again. Rest in God. This thought has the power to wake the sleeping truth in you, whose vision sees beyond appearances to that same truth in everyone and everything there is. So in my practice, it's noticing when the mind has said, look at the face on that. I bet you there's an evil there. I bet you that's a criminal. I bet you. And then I have to go, oh, look at that nonsense. Can I just let that go and come home to the holy place where none of that counts, where none of that nonsense has any power, where those stories mean nothing? Can I come home here to the stillness? And now, can I look back out at the world and see this stillness as the truth of everything and everyone? There are no ghosts and bodies. There is only this as the truth of the whole dream. So that's my practice. Does that help, Leila?
It helps very much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Guys, thanks a million for your attention. Um, I think we will do it all again next week. I don't think I have anything that's intruding on that. And we'll catch up in the Facebook group during the week. If anyone wants to join us in the Facebook group, it's called A Course in Miracles with Keith. You do need to agree to the group rules before you're accepted. So don't forget to do that at the time that you're applying. If you are enjoying the channel, please subscribe and give it a like. That would help enormously to get the message out there. Thanks a million, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye bye.